Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. In this video, we are going to go through the troubleshooting steps on my 1995 Mazda Miata. Had a no start when hot or warm condition that was intermittent. So without further ado, let's get started. If you're a fan of the channel, you'll recognize this one. I haven't done a ton of work on it until recently. It's my 95 Mazda Miata NA, also known as the Mazda MX-5. And I bought it and I rescued it from rotting away because it was leaking and filling up with water, and the previous owner just kind of given up on it. And I did some questionable repairs that have actually held up pretty well, at least to keep water out. And that's about it. I did a couple other things. I fixed the gas cap situation because that was a leak. I replaced the taillight gaskets because that was a leak. Just anything that would have let water get in, I fixed. So anyway, flash forward to a couple weeks back and I started working on this thing again. And one of the reasons I haven't done much to it is I would hop in, drive around. My kids love going for rides in this thing in the neighborhood, so I'd go to take one of them along with me, and then when the engine got warm up to operating temp, if I stalled it, which it's got kind of a tight clutch, so occasionally I do, it wouldn't start. Or to try to start, and it would fire off a few times and die. It would fire off, you'd punch the gas on it, it would try to rev, it would sound horrible, and it would die. And I just could not get this thing to start or stay started while it was hot. But if you left it alone for 30-45 minutes, let the engine begin to cool down, it'd fire right off like nothing had happened. And as long as I didn't stall it, I could get it home. So I did not know where to start on this thing. There was all sorts of things that could cause this condition. Everything I was reading was pointing at, potentially a bad IAC, which would be really bad because those are very expensive, or the TPS is bad, or the cam angle sensor was bad, or just a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, So that brings us to about last week, where I went, how do I check OBD codes in this thing? Because it has OBD1, and I've never actually looked that up. So then I figured out how you do that. And I will have a video that'll come out with this one, and somewhere to the left, right, somewhere on the screen, you'll see a little box for that video, and you can check it out. And it's how do you check for codes? But I checked for codes, and it came back with a code 3 and a code 4. Code 3 and code 4 are electric signal codes for the cam angle sensor. Basically, it was saying, I'm not getting the signal from the cam angle sensor, so I don't know what the timing is. And if your engine doesn't know its timing, it most definitely will not start. It most definitely is going to have a major problem with trying to advance timing if it doesn't know where it is. So, kind of a big deal. So I started to dig. And that's when I discovered the actual meat of this video. Alright, here's your cam angle sensor. It is kind of a pain to get to remove, but that's not what we need to do today. So I took this connector off. There we go. And I think you can see the problem real fast here. This connector is about done. And the main thing I found was this guy all the way on the right was pushed way down so that the contact was not actually going around the other side, which it has these flat pin contacts. I apologize, potato camera. There we go. You can see some of them. It wasn't going in. In fact, you can see plastic trash in there I need to clean out. Was not going in, so what I did as a temporary repair is I was able to bend these pins a little bit, the receptacle side, Guess the female side. There it goes. Dang, camera. Anyway, and then all the internal retainers, the plastic stuff, just fell apart. So I got it on there correctly, and that did fix the problem. I've been able to drive around. I stalled it on purpose, hot, cold, whatever, and it would fire right back up. So that was definitely the issue. The cam angle sensor is not bad, but the pigtail is junk. So I needed a new pigtail. So I looked around on eBay, and all right, first things first, we need to cut back the tape loom that is holding this in so I can properly splice in the replacement. So if I can unwind it, I'll do that, but otherwise we're going to cut it back. Oh boy. Pretty sure this is the original. Probably going to cut it. Be careful when you do this, because you don't want to nick any wires. That would be bad. Or break stuff. That piece of plastic guide just completely snapped. Oh boy, it's not going to come out easy. Alright, so this is going to go to time lapse as I work this out. Alright, I'm not going to peel it much further back. I don't want to disrupt all the factory looming in there, and I don't want to use all my electrical tape. So I'm going to actually make this connector stick out a little bit more. I don't mind if it arcs up a little bit. That way, just a little bit more accessible. So I'm going to trim down. As you can see, they gave me like a 1 foot pigtail depending on how bad your damage was. So I'm going to trim this down to about there, and we'll go from there. So a few more things before we go any further that can cause damage that maybe we can't fix. I'm making sure that this new connector does fit, and it does, and the latch works. And you'll notice also that they use thicker wiring. That shouldn't hurt anything. Thicker than the factory. Should be able to splice those two together without a big deal. This particular kit actually came with its own butt connectors, and I do have a crimping tool. So this should work fine as long as we get it right. And I also have my own wire stripping tool. That's really nice. So we're going to use that. Probably about right here is where I'm going to cut. But one thing we really got to pay attention to is I'm going to do this one wire at a time. That way, I don't get this wire order mixed up. We do not want to get the wire order mixed up, or the CAS is not going to send good data to the engine computer, and then we have bad news bears. So, onward. Alright, so I've made my wire strips, and I'm going to go ahead and get ready to do the crimp. We got to make sure we get this right. I can see right now I wanted to definitely make sure that the original harness went in pretty deep, because it's a skinnier wire. I want to make sure I catch it in the crimp, and I can see the new end, so I'm not so worried about it. Squeeze it. Alright, there's our crimp. We're going to tug it, see if we're okay. And it looks like we're okay. No, we're not. So I did not get enough of this in the crimp point. So I'm going to have to slide this off and try again. That's why you always tug after you make a crimp. Make sure that you firmly got the wires matched together in the crimp. Alright, so I stripped a little bit more wire off my first try here. Actually slightly too much based on what I'm seeing, but wire got in the crimp both sides, so this is a good mechanical connection. Ooh, that's a Mitsubishi part. That's kind of neat. Alright, so that is one. And now we're going to work on what is a yellow wire on the new connector and what is a looks like a white wire on the old one. And again, all I'm going to do is do these one by one to make sure I get them joined in the correct order. We make sure that our connector is facing the same appropriate side, and we're going to go down the line. So I'll bring you guys back when I've got all of them done. I'll scrounge up the heat gun so I can shrink this plastic, because these are marine style with heat shrink on them, so that it helps keep moisture out, so you don't have to pack them with grease or anything. Alright, so there we go. We're 4 for 4 on the crimps. Before I heat shrink them and make this completely totally permanent, because if you pull hard enough you can separate a mechanical crimp. You might pull a wire or two, a strand, but you can do it. So before I make this really permanent to where I'd have to back this up some more to redo this process, I'm going to plug this back in. There we go, good solid click. And then I'm going to fire the engine and make sure that we're running okay. So I imagine if I got the wires wrong, it's going to tell me real quick. And then I can also go into diagnostic mode and make sure there's no silent codes that tripped. Okay, so I ran it, idled it, got it up to temp, turned it back off. I jumpered tin and ground to put it in diagnostic mode, and no codes. So feeling pretty good about that. I'm going to go ahead, get a heat gun up here, get these all shrunk up, and then I'm going to rewrap all the electrical tape, and we will call it a day. Alright, there you have it. I retaped it, I put the connector back in, I popped it out to make the taping easier, and put it back in. Connector gave me a nice click, it's in there firmly, and no codes. So this is a successful repair. Alrighty folks, that's going to do it for this episode, where we started chasing down a warm and hot start issue, which turned into a bad connector on the cast pigtail. So this video helped you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ring the bell, do the fun YouTube things. And if you got a comment, leave me a comment. I like to read them. I like to learn from them. I like to reply to them. And lastly, I make the mistakes so you don't have to. I'll catch you guys next episode.